Hello, hello, everyone, and happy Tuesday. Hope everyone is doing well. Looks like we got a couple of eyeballs on there. That's fabulous. Um, when I was planning for tonight's live, I wanted to look at some of the new arrivals that we had in because I just felt the need to get crafty tonight. So yes, I've got lots of tips and tricks, but we're just gonna craft and have fun. But when I looked at a lot of the new arrivals, and I think I mentioned this last week as well, uh, we got we've got a lot of Christmas and Halloween, and really hitting our stride with those festive upcoming seasons. But you know what, this girl here, I'm mentally not ready for it. It's lovely to see. I love looking at all the stuff that's coming for holiday and everything else. But when I see that sun shining, and when I know that we are really only in the first week of August, I can't. I just can't wrap my head around winter and snow and all that good stuff. So good thing we have Catherine Pooler. She had a new release a few weeks. Well, I think the release was earlier in July. We got it in a few weeks ago, and there is this adorable build a sundae, a die set, and then I also grabbed a stamp set as well. This is called First Ice Cream. I know that's always high on my list of summertime treats, and I thought it would be really fun to play with. I've got some ideas to share with you. Believe it or not, I had to make sure I grabbed packing tape. I'm going to leave you wondering why. We'll get to that in a little bit. But as I was, starting to plan, first of all, I picked a really fun format. So this is a fun little diagonal card, and I will show you how to pull it all together. This was just kind of my sample, my prototype. I've actually only pulled white paper because we are going to use our Catherine Pooler inks to color it up and add some color to that. I also grabbed one of the 6x6 pads from Catherine Pooler. And this is one thing that, since we've brought in Catherine, brought in her stuff, we haven't dug too deep yet into her 6x6 pads and show you all the fun things they can do. Yes, they are just a super fun 6x6 pad, but what I really like with this set in particular, and this is Spa Mix number 2, there is actually 3 spa pads all together. But what she does is these are coordinated to match with the inks. So down here she has listed the colors that she has used so that you can match your inks to it. And what I did just to help me out is I actually stamped the inks on the back. I just went in order. That's why I haven't labeled them. But then that way we can pull out some colors and just see how nicely they match. It takes me back to my direct sales days. The company that I worked with back then was very much all about matchy and matching your inks to your papers and things. So I'm super excited to pull these out and see what these look like. So good evening, everyone. As you're tuning in, thank you so much for joining. And yes, Matt, I know this is yours. I will put it back afterwards, but we're going to do a really fun thing with it. So I have the stamp, I have the dies, I've already pulled out some of the stamps because I created some fun little borders that we may or may not use. Sometimes you have the idea and it works, and sometimes you have the idea and it doesn't. I've got my inks, I've got my white paper, and I did grab some brown paper because that we haven't quite gotten into the neutrals yet with Catherine Pooler inks, and you simply can't have a ice cream sundae without some chocolate. So I need some brown. This is truffle, I think, from Spellbinders. Just in my scrap bin. Yeah, truffle is the color there. So, where to get started? I think we'll get started with building our little card base. and then we can get into, I'm going to keep it pretty simple. I'm going to put the ice cream sundae on this front little panel, and then maybe we'll add, you know, a big ice cream with the sentiment in it. We'll have to see where the creativity takes us. Melissa said she just had a mini drumstick. I have some, well, I hope there's still some left in the freezer. Some Kawartha Dairy salty caramel truffle upstairs. That is my treat once we are done our live tonight. And yeah, that and having a nice ice cream card all finished up. All right, so let's start by making the card. And I've got my little cheat sheet post-it note over here, so forgive me if I keep referring to that. If you want to make one of these cards, I will do my best. I've got some small post-it notes here. I'll try and write the measurements out. Do I have a pen? I have a pencil. That'll work. I'll try to write the measurements out as we go along, so that if you want to come back and make this card afterwards, you absolutely can. So this is just extra white. I'm going to use that for my die cutting. I've got my chocolate for truffle for my die cutting. And then I am starting with, and I'll come back to the inks in a few minutes. I am starting with just an 8.5 by 11 piece of white cardstock. The way we're going to cut this paper is you can actually make two cards at the same time. So out of this card base, we are going to get two cards from it. The very first thing we're going to do, I'm going to get my ruler. Typically, I would use my mat here, my glass mat, and come down here to measure it. But since that's going to be off camera, I'm going to get my trusty little ruler out. And what we're going to do is we're going to measure up on this bottom left-hand corner. We're going to measure up at 3 inches and make a little tick mark. So that's 3 inches. I'm not going to write that out. You'll remember that. And I'll say it enough times. So along this short end here, I'm going to mark it here at 3 inches. Just a little tick mark for when we are going to be cutting. Then I'm going to rotate all the way to the other side. So I'm on my other short end now. And I'm going to do the same thing. 3 inches. And just make a little tick mark. And so if I were to take this ruler, I'm not going to draw it. I'm just going to use my paper trimmer to connect it. But if you wanted to draw it out, you would just connect those two dots, and you can see where we're getting this nice diagonal line that we're going to make that slanted card out of. Now, when I was first watching other people's videos and learning how to make this, my first thought is, well, why wouldn't you score it first and then die cut it? Because then you only have to do it once. Unfortunately, the panels aren't exactly equal. So if you did that, then one of your card bases would not work out properly. So we do have to score them separately. But that's okay. That's easy enough. So let me grab my trimmer. Get these little stamps out of the way here. My little borders. And I'm going to take this tick mark here and this tick mark here. Let's see if I can get it all the way on camera and line it up. So this little tick mark's going to go up towards the top here, right along the track in my trimmer. Bring the other tick mark down here to the trimmer. Let me close it up and I'll see if I can hold it up to the camera. I don't know if it's going to show very well. But the tick mark is on the track. The tick mark is on the track. I'm going to do a double check in case moved it, but it did not. And I'm going to simply cut like so. So now we have two pieces that look like this. We are actually going to flip it this way. So we've got the long straight edge at the top. We've got the long diagonal edge at the bottom. We've got the short end on our left. and the longer end on our right. And now I can switch this way. And I'm going to write these score marks out for us, just so it's nice and big if you are trying to follow along. We are going to score at 3 inches and at 6 3/4 inches. Can you see that okay? So we're going to do one at a time. I'm going to make sure my blade is up the top. If I'm doing a lot of scoring, sometimes what I'll do is I'll do this. I'll take a piece of craft tape or washi tape or whatever and just stick that up there so that I don't accidentally use the cutting blade instead of the scoring blade. And I have done that before. Like I said, I'm going to slide this in so that straight edges at the top. I'm going to come over here to that 3-inch mark. Get it nice and straight there. Close it down. Grab my scoring blade that's also already on my trimmer. Give it a nice little score. Don't push too hard unless you've got super thick cardstock. I do find if I push too hard, I can push right through the paper and then you get a cut mark and your fold isn't very nice and all of that stuff. So just be careful. You're better off going over it a couple of times. Now I'm going to slide it. Where'd my Post-it note go? There we go. I'm going to slide it to 6 3/4. So all the way down to 6 3/4, like so, and score it up. Now, the nice thing about these score lines, once you've got it, it's going to fold really nicely, and you still, at this point, have options. So we could have it like this, where the little piece then pulls out to the right, and you've got your base on the left, and that little piece on the right. Or, if you fold it the other way around, it opens this way. And there really isn't a right or wrong. It just comes down to whatever preference you like. I, for whatever reason, tend to like it this way because a normal card you would open this way and have your base here on your right hand side. So I'm going to keep it like this. I think people are most likely to go like that to open it. But there we go, and you can still sort of see my my pencil mark there, so that's where I'll grab an eraser and just do a little erasing job so it's all done. Just for practice, let's go ahead and score up our other one just so that we have it and we're ready whenever we go to use that other one. So 3 inches, like so, and 6 3/4. And here you are all talking about ice cream in the comments. That's awesome. Welcome to everyone. I see we've got Ellen here from Pittsburgh. Welcome. Welcome. Good to have you here. I'm going to save that just in case I need it later. But I am done scoring at this point. And again, I can fold along these score lines to make this card. All right. Part 2, while I've got my trimmer out, part 2 is that we actually need 3 different pieces of pattern paper, potentially even 6. Depends on if you want to cover up the, what I would call the naked sides of this. In tonight's case, because of what I am planning to do with the inks, I'm going to make sure that I have 6 pieces. I'm going to have 2 pieces of the little one, 2 pieces of the medium, and 2 pieces of the large one, so that front and back can both be covered. So first we have to go and look at our paper and figure out which paper we're going to use. So with the Catherine Pooler pads, there are 8 different designs, and so that means there are 3 sheets of each color in the pad. And when I was choosing paper for this one of the best things that I like to, or one of the best tips I like to follow, is have contrast. So here I've got the darkest paper at the back, I've got kind of a medium paper in the middle, and I've got a lighter paper on the front. So that is what I'm going to build up and prep in this same vein. To be honest, I've already kind of flipped through and kind of know already which colors I want to use, but I'm gonna let's pull out a few different options. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to pull out the at least one sheet of this yellow, because I know I want to use that for my die cutting. So I want to hang that off the side. Now just so you can see, like I said, this has the color matches. So the yellow here would be goldenrod. And if you look at that, look at what a nice match is. And especially because I say don't always go by the lid, go by the actual ink. If you look at those yellows close together, they're a really, really nice match. So I really, it makes my heart really happy. I do tend to be a matchy person. So I'm really happy that these inks and the paper are going to all work really well together. So the yellow I want for later on for the die cutting. So there's number one. As I flip through here, if I'm looking for darker papers, we've got this teal paper, which is nice and dark. And we've got the polka dots. And I know we have many, many purple lovers here. So my thinking was I'm going to do the purple for that largest panel in the back. And because I know that that is the biggest one and I'm going to need two pieces, I'm going to grab both of those pieces there. Next up in the middle we need kind of a medium color. So I could still go with that teal. It's got enough contrast and color that would work. I could go with the pink. The pink is kind of fun as well. I'm gonna do that. That wasn't my original plan. I think I was originally thinking that teal, but you know what? That pink looks really fun. And yes, I'm gonna need two of those as well. And then for my front piece, I'm gonna find one that's got a white background. And I think this diamond one is it, because it's gonna pull a lot of those colors together, since all these little diamonds have lots of those colors in it. And it kind of looks like sprinkles, kind of looks like confetti, which to me is perfect for an ice cream sundae. I mean, we could go with the flowers, but I think, especially because this has the purple in it, it's got the pinks and the reds in it. To me, that seems to make the best match. Let me put that back in there. So those are the pieces that I am going to cut for our background. All right, can get rid of that Post-it note. Let's make a new Post-it note. The first piece we're going to cut is the purple one, and that one is going to be our 4 by 5 1/4. Piece number 2, might as well get them all written up here, and then I will move them as necessary. So this one is 3 1/2 by 4 1/4. And then the last one is 2 3/4 by 3 1/2. And we're going to start just by cutting the squares, and then I will show you how to cut those angled pieces. So this one, let's just put the Post-it note right on top of it. This one, let's put the Post-it note right on top of it. And for our purple, we are going to do 4 by 5 1/4. I just wanted to check. Yeah, this is 80-pound cardstock, so it is a nice medium weight. I'm going to cut them individually. I don't want to cut them together. You could if you were trying to be quick, but I think cutting them, I guess it doesn't matter, it's a square. Cutting them individually, you're just going to make sure that we've got a nice crisp cut. So 4, keep your scraps, by 5 1/4. And hey, the purple matches my nails too, so why not? That's piece number 1. And then 4 by 5 1/4 again. Come on. So there is our first piece. This is for our large panel. Put that somewhere safe. Second piece. This is the one we're cutting 3 1/2 by 4 1/4. 3 1/2 being the width. So do I want the wavy stripes going up and down, or do I want them going side by side? Kind of like the up and down. So I'm going to do that 3 1/2 inch cut first. Three and a half by 4 1/4. And repeat for the other side. So it's just getting progressively smaller. 3 1/2 by 4 1/4. Make sure they're both the same and stick that down. Last but not least, we've got our little diamond piece, and because my width is 2 3/4, I know I can get them both out of the same piece of paper. So we'll do 2 3/4. Actually, let's do the 3 1/2 cut first. And again, this is a nice random pattern, so it does not matter which direction I go in. That goes in scrap. That's my 3 1/2. I'm going to do 2 3/4 twice. 1, 2. So I've got a little tiny sliver left, and I've got my 2 little front pieces. Okay. Next up, and again, I'm not going to put this away. I'm just going to tuck it off to the side because we're not quite done with the trimmer just yet. Here is how we are going to make these fit on our card with our nice angled pieces. So I know, let me find I had my bone folder earlier. Here it is. Let's just crisp up these folds just a little bit, so that everything's going to lie flat. So the way these pieces are cut is so that you can put it on and still have, hard to see here, let me pull up put them on here and still have that little border of color showing through from your card base. But what that means is that you can't just put it down and then trim it off, because then otherwise you won't have that little bit of a border on your piece. So here's the trick, and it is a tiny bit tricky, and there is a little bit of eyeballing involved with this, but it's going to be okay. So I'm going to take this piece. I know now, because I'm doing both pieces front and back, as long as you do one for each side, it's fine. But what I'm going to do is, just for right now, this is the front. This is going to be the front piece. So I'm going to take it to the back. I am going to lay it down as if I was going to put it, but I'm doing it face down. And I'm sorry, I realize that this white is difficult to see on white, but it'll all make sense. Then I'm going to scooch it up just a little bit, so there's almost double the width down here. Margaret's asking what was the size of the middle paper. The middle paper was 3 1/2 by 4 1/4. Okay, so I've got it here. I've got it fairly even left to right. I'm going to flip it over and I'm going to draw a light pencil line. Now don't then just go and stack them and cut them at the same time, because then one of your pieces is going to be backwards. if you want to economize, what we're going to do is we're going to put the white sides together. We've got the patterns on the outside, back to our trimmer, and we're going to cut along that pencil line. Like so. So now I have a diagonal piece for the front. And I've got my nice border there as well. If you can still see your pencil line, again, now is the time to erase it. And if you are anxious about that, you could reverse the steps and do it the other way. You really just want to make sure, that you've got a diagonal in each direction so that when they go back to back, they're going to match up. So that's number one. Let's do the other two. I'm not ready to stick them down yet, and you'll see why. So this one is our middle piece. That was our 3.5 by 4 1/4. I'm going to do the same thing. So if this like this would typically go like this. It's not quite in the corner here. I'm going to come up a smidge, try to keep this all together. And if you can't, so here is where your repositionable tape can come in handy. Just going to put a strip of that here, position it right, move it up, left to right, we're centered, stick it down, because then that way it's not going to move. And draw my line. And I didn't do that backwards. I did that wrong. But since we're going to be cutting two, it's not going to matter. So, whites to whites, patterns on the outside. Oh, got to do it the other way because my line's there. And trim. Get rid of that repositionable tape. That's the nice thing about the repositionable is you can just rub it and it goes away. And once again, we just do a double check and look. Presto changeo, our piece fits. It's going to fit on the other side as well. That one is now good to go. One more time, we're going to do that with our purple, which is our 4 by 5 1/4. I'm going to remember to flip it over this time. Put it into place. Scooch it up a little bit. Put some of that repositionable tape down. Should work. Maybe a little bit more. Draw our line. And you know what? I wish there was an easier way. I wish I could just give you measurements, and I'm sure I could just spend some time figuring out the measurements for this. But I want you to know that you can do this technique with any size of card. So if for whatever reason you changed your card base to be different sizes, you're still going to be able to get this same look and same technique because we've shown you how to make it work. All right, so those little squares in the recycling. And that's going to fit beautifully. Now, if we were using colored cardstock like I did on my sample one, you could go ahead and glue it right down and be good to go. But we're going to add a little bit of extra pizzazz with our inks and our white paper. So I've now put my trimmer away, done with my trimmer, at least for the time being. And I just grabbed some scrap white paper just because I'm going to be doing some dragging here and I don't want to get the glass mat all goopy. That was that posted. That was that posted. So one of the nice things about Catherine Pooler ink is the fact that you absolutely can drag it to make your own matching colored cardstock. You don't need to buy a colored cardstock. You just need your white cardstock, and you can change it into any color. So, that being said, what color is our card base going to be? Could do pink, but I've got plans for pink. Later on, we could do red because there's red in here, but I'm not sure how that would look with the purple. Same with the orange. Yellow would be a fun color. The matcha, I think, would be really nice. Skylight. Then we've got these two colors as well. So there's our purple again. I kind of want a contrast, so I'm not going to go purple. Tranquil might be a little bit light. So where I'm leaning is Skylight on one side, and I think I'm going to do Goldenrod on the other side. Now we don't need to cover the entire surface of the white. All we want to do is the edges. So I'm going to take my ink pad, I'm going to drag it along this edge, this edge, this edge, this edge, but also drag it along where those score lines are, because that's going to create our border. So let's start, if I'm going to do that, this is going to be the front. So let's start with the Skylight. Just remove your lid, and you will get a little bit of resistance, so don't worry if this kind of pulls against you. Just gonna go like that. Down this edge. Down this edge. And down this edge. So there are my 4 edges done. Now I got to go along this seam, and it looks like because we've scored it, there's going to be a little bit. We just got to make sure we get in those little areas. And one more. And you know what? If you are continuing to get this little edge, well here, why don't we just fold it? Fold it back. Fill in that edge. There we go. And it's not looking super pretty right now, but trust me, it's gonna look fantastic when it's done. We're gonna have faith. So that was our Skylight. Shouldn't matter, shouldn't necessarily need a clean area, but just for my own peace of mind, we're gonna do that and go with Goldenrod. So here we go again. Down this side here. It kind of caught on me at the end. Let's do this side here. And if you're finding that the ink is drying out just a little bit or being smushed too much, just flip it around. Yes, Catherine Pooler inks, because they've got that foam pad, they are super juicy. But this technique does kind of take a little bit out of them, so do make sure these are good ones to make sure you have the re-inkers for them as well, so you can juice them up. There we go. Okay, again, doesn't look like much right now, but we're having faith. We're having faith. Look at how pretty that's going to be. So when we've got that green, we've got that yellow peeking through, and we're going to have some great colors with our pattern papers. So now we can go ahead and assemble. So get your right pieces. And because they're all the same, we can do one side, then do the other side. So that's that one and a purple one. Grab my tape runner. And this can just nest on here. There we go. Now we'll do the middle one. Sorry, I'm a little bit down here. Center that up. And all of a sudden, those not so pretty parts are vanishing because they're being covered by this beautiful pattern paper. And that's why I cut 2 of each set, because I knew in order to get this look that we wanted, we had to cover up that white area. So 1, 2, 3. And repeat this way. 1, 2, and 3. So once again, now, no matter which way we fold it, whether we go this way, I love that it's got that second color, that second pop of color, which you can't get when you're using just colored cardstock. Having that alternating really creates a unique look to it. So there, our card base is done. Now we're going to do some of the same techniques with the ink in order to do our die cutting. So really, other than the fact that I didn't have brown and I need that for the chocolate sauce, you can make an entire card, a colored entire card, even if you don't have any colored cardstock with you. And that's where your inks are really coming into play. So let me find my dies. Here they are. So I know I need a bowl. I need some ice cream. I'm going to do some chocolate sauce. I need a cherry. So there's my little cherry. There's the cherry stem. I'm going to leave that on the magnet so I don't lose it. And a spoon. The chocolate sauce, I know I'm going to use the brown paper. So I'm not going to worry about that right now. The ice cream I think is going to be strawberry. So let me find my pink ink. I'm going to do this. And I was going to do the dish out of the pattern paper. I think I still will. I think I'll do the dish out of the pattern paper. And the spoon, that's where I think this blue color will come into play. Oh, and I need red for the cherry. Right here. And I need green for that stem. So there's our matcha. So there's our 4 colors that we're going to be die cutting with. This one is a fairly big area. So I'm going to make sure that I do a pretty big swipe with this pink. Like so. This magnet's really holding it. Is that big enough? Yep, it's big enough, so I'm going to be able to do that. Cherry, I just need a little teeny tiny area. So I can just go like that. Giving it a second for that ink to really soak into that paper before I try to die cut. I've got my spoon, which is going to be blue. So let's do this. Which one was this? This was Tranquil. This is a really pretty color. Need it a little bit longer so that the spoon fits. And I need a little splotch of green for that leaf or stem. So there we go. There are all of our colors. Just to make die cutting easier, I am going to just loosely fussy cut. So this one I'm going to go snip, snip, snip. So that's the bowl on the pattern paper. And let's just cut these little sections out so I can position them on the die cutting machine a little bit easier. Save that white. Oh, I have to remember I wanted, oh no, I was going to do the ice cream white and then I changed it to, strawberry, so that's okay. Okay, let's bring over Mr. Scout. Let's see what I can cut all at once here. So that is from my spoon. I think that one's going to have to go by itself. So we'll make some space. Get my plate. Come on. Come on, why are you not going through? Oh, because I've got too many plates, that's why. So silly. That's what happens when they all live in the same storage case. I was not counting. That's better. You know, things always go wrong when you're on camera, but we figured it out. So there is my spoon. Let's put that back on here so I don't lose it. Then next up, we've got our ice cream. And I should be able to get the cherry on here as well. Scooch it up there so you can see. There's the cherry. So we've got some yummy ice cream. And this one, it does have, I don't know if you can see it very well here. It does have some little divots here. I'm going to, it did not cut all the way through. So it is more like an embossing line to give that ice cream a little bit of dimension. But try not to pop those out. There's my little cherry. Cherry I'm going to put on top of the ink here so I don't lose it. And then we'll do our dish and our, I think I need to cut this down a little bit more. I don't need a very big piece. Actually, that might even be okay for my little cherry stem. All right, we have one more piece to die cut, and that is our chocolate sauce. Okay, that's still got the paper in the die, so I don't want to lose that. There is our little ice cream dish. Get this out of the way for a second. All right, so next up is our chocolate sauce. And this is where that packing tape is going to come into play. Now I don't need a very big piece here. Let's trim it down. But I think I will do a strip because I may, afterwards do a second sundae for that second card. And I want to have room for it. So this is where our packing tape comes into play. Packing tape is a really, really great way to get something shiny that wasn't shiny before. And you don't have to worry about drying time or stickiness or all that kind of thing. So I'm just going to pull a strip and I'm going to stick it down. You do need to make sure that it's as smooth as possible. Give it a good burnish and then get it up from your workstation. Let's trim off that excess. So look at that. It is nice and shiny. You can wrap your edges around if you need to. And now, because it's super thin, we can die cut it. My cardstock. There's my chocolate sauce. And presto, we've got super shiny chocolate sauce for our sundae. Just adds such a nice finish to it. And packing tape is something we all have. Now you probably wouldn't want to do pieces that were where you would need to layer the packing tape. That might give you that seam and it might look a little bit odd. You're definitely welcome to try it, but I think I would tend to focus on smaller pieces where I could cover the whole strip of cardstock with just one piece of tape. All right, so let's come over here. I'm actually going to build my ice cream first. Should the ice cream go inside? I think so. I think if it was scooping over, it's not an ice cream cone, so I think if it was going over top. Let me zoom in. You guys can tell me what you think. I think the ice cream needs to tuck ever so slightly inside, because to me that looks a little funny on the outside, though I want to show off. So you know what, we're just going to go with it. I'm not going to worry too much about what is right. I'm going to do what I want. All right, so I'm just going to put a little bit of glue just on the bottom scallops here so that it can just rest on the outside of that bowl. I'm going to put my super shiny hot sauce on here, chocolate sauce. On top. Then my cherry, my little cherry can go on top. So again, we're just doing a little bit of glue at the bottom. And you know what, if you wanted a shiny cherry, you could do that same, oops, sorry, I'm off camera. You could do that same thing where you put a little bit of packing tape on the cherry as well. But I really wanted that chocolate sauce to be kind of the hero, because, you know, it's chocolate after all. And then we've got our little stem. So the little stem. Kind of feel like it goes in behind so that the leaf is just poking up. And that's going to sit on here. Now, one more thing that I want to do is I kind of want to make it so that you can take the spoon in and out. So if the spoon is tucked in behind, I want to be able to take it out and make this a little bit more interactive. This may not work. The idea is there. Let's see if the execution comes into play. So I have turned it all face down. Let me put that little stem die away. I am going to use foam strips. I think I've got, yeah, here we go. And so if the spoon were to come, say, all the way here, I'm going to put one strip here, basically making a tunnel for the spoon. And I'm going to put the other strip, and I think I need to cut it, so let's just cut a little piece off. So now my spoon can come in and out and not get lost, and I'm going to put this little piece here on the bottom just as a stopper. Now I can go in and I can add a little bit more foam tape in those other areas just to bulk it up. And maybe, I think I'm going to just put a square. One little square on the bottom here. Okay. Moment of truth. Peeling all those backings. Before I stick it down, I feel like, let's do one more square over here again, just to make sure it's nice and stable. And here we go. And did this work? Did this work? Ha ha! Da 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 da! The spoon comes out. The spoon goes in. And let's see, where's the stamp set? It'd be really cute if I had a little tiny sentiment, but I don't. What I do have is this cute little heart. So what if you put the heart right on the spoon? So when you pull it out, it's like a little mini message of love. And because no, let's do it. Sorry, I'm debating with myself whether we do black or whether we do a color. Since we've got the color out, and red is a good color for hearts, we're just going to put a little blob of love, a scoop of love onto our spoon. How cute is that? So there's my spoon. Goes in. Oh, look at that. Gosh darn it. That's what happens when you get ink on your hand. Well, I'm going to have to redo that, but you get the idea. Let me get my chamois here. So do be careful with red. It happens to the best of us, but at least it's a piece that I can take out and fix. Yeah, that's in the right spot. So there we go. So pretend that doesn't have my thumbprint on it. Then we can open it up, and what I haven't used yet is my little borders. That I could put, a little border along the bottom of the inside here. And again, because we stamped it in these coordinating colors, everything is just so beautifully matching. So you could use this panel here to write your message on. And then what I'd like to do is take this big popsicle ice cream on a stick, And I'm going to put it over here. Now I think I'm actually going to do it on white. I had some white left over. And because it's going on purple, I want it to be contrasting. Let's go back to that skylight. And if you really wanted to, you could stamp this a couple times. You could paper piece that chocolate bit and do the same chocolate treatment as come back out, as we did on the sundae. But I'm just going to do that because I'm going to take a sentiment and put it inside that ice cream. I think that sentiment will fit. Let's do that in the purple, which was over here. So what have we got here? Never settle for just one scoop, or life is short, eat ice cream first. I like the never settle for just one scoop. That is definitely my son Charlie's philosophy in life. And remember, especially with sentiments and Catherine Pooler ink, we're just doing just a gentle pat there. It's not going to fit. It's okay. We'll make it close. So there you go. This stamp set actually does not have dies. It was a stamp only. So we can fussy cut this out. Close up our lid. And I'm just going to tuck it here in this corner here, so that way when it's closed, it's kind of a nice little surprise that's on the inside. And there you go. So other than I need to redo my little spoon, that is super fun. You could put enamel dots. I'm just thinking, do I have? In one of my bags somewhere, I have some Catherine Pooler enamel dots, but they are not at my fingertips. But there you go. This is such a fun little format. It gives you just that little taste of color and fun using all that pattern paper. And because we used our inks to create our cardstock, everything matches beautifully. So there you have it. You had all those measurements. So you take your piece, your 8.5 by 11, mark 3 inches up and down from either end, cut your diagonal. Then you score at 3 and 6 3/4. You've got your 3 sets of pattern paper. Then you ink, you glue, and you have some fun. Never settle for just one scoop. I'm going to go for at least 1 scoop if there's enough left in the freezer. And I thank you so very much for joining me tonight. I hope this inspires you. And as always, if you create something using these instructions, please do post in our Papercrafts in our circle group. If you have not tried Catherine Pooler inks, it is definitely one that I recommend that you buy at least 1 ink in 1 color. Give it a try. See how you can make these beautiful cardstocks just with your ink pads and keep your supplies under control. Ice cream series is lots of fun and will work all year round. All right, everyone, wishing you a wonderful evening, and we will talk to you very soon. If I can find room here on my crazy desk to close things off. Have a good night, everyone.